Rob Flax here. I play things with strings, I hit stuff, and I sing. And I am so excited to share this one today. I have been keeping this under wraps for far too long, and I am excited to announce that I have a brand new custom-made instrument. And here it is. Are you ready for the reveal? Ooh, look at that! Introducing the Volta Violinotron. This is the 14th one ever made, and it's my signature model. Can we focus this? Can you see it? Ooh, yeah! Flax. This is the Violinotron, and it is a revolutionary instrument for a number of reasons. First things first, that's 5 strings, so that's a game changer for me. Second, oh, it's sparkly blue. You may notice there's a lot of knobs on here and all this stuff. What the heck's going on? Before I explain all that, I'm gonna first tell you about how I got connected with Volta. Flashback to 2021, my friend at the electric violin shop, Matt Bell, sends me a message and says, "You really need to check this company out. Brand new company called Volta Violins. They're doing something really interesting that I think you'll like. He's putting a reverb in the violin." I checked it out, and sure enough, this violin has speakers built into it. And the idea is it gives you a monitor for your sound right under your face. That's not like most electric instruments. Most electric violins, you play and you can't hear the instrument itself even if it's right next to you, especially at loud stage volumes, because the amps, the monitors, the drummer, everything else is so loud. So having speakers right there is kind of handy. It also means that I can play unplugged, just walking around. Now, Marat, who is the founder of and sole builder right now for Volta Violins, he's like, "I really wish that this didn't have just the sound of the dry signal. I wish it had some reverb." I solved that problem with my stuff by using a reverb pedal. I plugged my violin into some kind of reverb effect before it goes out into a speaker and into the world. But wouldn't it be nice if you were playing unplugged through these speakers and it had a little onboard reverb? So his violins, for the most part, have a reverb effect, and you can control the level of the reverb. I said, that's really cool, but given all the stuff that I use, can we put a delay in it instead? Wouldn't that be a nice twist? And now, that was just me thinking, hypothetically, pipe dream. Surely there's no way anyone would listen to my suggestions. But he did. On November 2nd, 2021, I know this because I just checked, we jumped on a video chat. Marat holds up a custom instrument he was making for somebody else that had extra knobs in completely different places and even a weird tap button. Somebody had asked for a looper inside their violin, and they made that. And I went, okay, this guy is the right guy for this idea. He listened to my ramblings about delay effects for 3 hours. And by the end of it, we had decided he was going to build me a custom instrument with 5 strings and a delay effect in there. We're testing it and we're getting it to work, and it sounds really good. I'm video chatting. I'm asking him, can we push it a little further? Can we overclock it? Can we get a little weirder? Marat's a little wary of the ideas, but begrudgingly changes some pots and resistors and some values to see if we can't push the circuit a little beyond normal pleasant sounds. Well, it came out really, really well, and I'm excited to share that with you. Before we even listen to the sound of the instrument through the signal chain, I'm first going to just play it in the room. I'm going to use my Coda Bow Jewel because you need a sparkly bow for a sparkly violin. Here is how loud this is with everything turned off. No speakers, no volume, just the instrument in the room. Here is my acoustic violin in the same room. I'm going to turn it on with this button in the back. Ooh, and there's an indicator for how much charge is left in the internal battery. Right now it's at 2 out of 4 blobs. I did a battery longevity test. I charged it all the way fully and left it running. About 14.5 hours of battery life on a single charge, and took about 30 minutes to get all the way back up again, which is insane. So really efficient battery that works really well. That may vary from usage to usage, and I wasn't always blasting it at full volume, and I wasn't playing it for 14 hours straight, but the point is, the battery on here lasts for forever and is never an issue. Good stuff there. Let's turn up the internal speakers, and you're just hearing the sound of the speakers in the room here. I think that sounds pretty decent even as just a regular acoustic violin, unplugged with speakers doing the same job as the wood of the original violin. Now, is it as nuanced and rich as my nearly 100-year-old acoustic instrument? No, it's brand new and it's covered in paint. It's not going to sound the same, but here's where things get cool. Are you ready? Here's a little more of the delay sound. That's so cool! This is unplugged. I have a delay pedal that's portable. Oh my goodness, that is a game changer for me. We're going to explore the delay a little bit more in a bit, but first let's plug in the pickup and hear how it sounds electrically. There is on the side here a little tiny toggle switch that determines what's going to the pickup. As I plug it in here, now my board is only hearing the passive piezo pickup. I'm going to mute the room mics and let's listen to the sound of that. Now that's the passive piezo pickup going into my usual signal chain. It's going into my pedal board. There's a little bit of help from the Benson Preamp Mark II, the Chase Bliss Automaton. It's getting a little compression and it's getting a little reverb. Now let's flip it over to active mode so that those pedals are also hearing the delay. That's so cool. That's so cool. I still beam about this, and I've had this violin for almost 2 weeks now. Just insane. I cannot believe how happy that makes me. I have to say, the tone of this instrument is maybe my favorite of any electric violin I've ever played so far. It's hollow-bodied, there's a chamber in there, and the resonance of the instrument feels not too different from an acoustic violin. But because there are no F-holes, it has better volume before feedback, so it's like the equivalent in guitar world of a semi-hollow body or a chambered instrument. But then the speakers are a nice added bonus where it gives you some monitoring on top like an acoustic instrument. So this might be the best of both worlds. Very briefly, this thing is not a speaker. This is what Marat calls a passive resonator. Basically, since this is pumping air in and out, in order for that not to explode or implode or collapse or do something weird with physics, this is able to wiggle so that the air doesn't like burst at the seams inside. I guess, I'm not entirely sure, but this is sort of an emergency valve. It's passive, it doesn't do anything, but it does wiggle like a speaker. More delay sounds. Let's talk about the delay. The chip in here is what's known as a PT2399. This is a classic chip that is used in a lot of different delay pedals, probably most famously in the Mad Professor Deep Blue delay, but there's a jillion different pedals that have been made using the PT2399 chip. At faster delay times, the repeats are pretty pristine. There is a little bit of filtering that needs to happen so you don't get the clock noise, so each repeat is ever so slightly darker than the initial signal. I'm going to mute the room mics so you're hearing only the pickup. I'm going to turn the repeats and the delay level up pretty high, and then we're going to listen to the repeats. And as I change the speed from short delay times to long delay times, you'll hear more and more grit and crunch. This is overclocking the chip, making it work harder than it was designed to work. So at slower speeds, it's very lo-fi, and I like it. Check it out. Do you hear the little bit of sibilance and sort of hiss that comes in at the high end? Listen some more. All those good crackly bits. That is a weird sound. But I asked Marat specifically, leave that in. If I just set the shorter delay times, you won't hear that overclocking because it's pretty high fidelity at shorter delay times. There is one other pretty crazy thing about this. You can make the delay self-oscillate. That is, it can get into infinite feedback and crazy chaos spaceship noises. First of all, here's what happens if I set the repeats to infinity and play something and then mute the violin. Check it out. Ready? Medium delay time. Now, I'm going to turn the repeats all the way up, play a note, and then turn the volume off. Watch what happens. It's just repeating for a while. Now if I turn up the volume a little bit, I'll add a new note. I think that's pretty cool. But if I leave the volume up, something unusual happens. Since there's a piezo in here, it's picking up anything that's resonating on the body. But at high repeat levels and feedback levels, that might even include the speaker a little bit. So if I push everything to the max, here's what happens. Ready? Feedback! Rob, why would you want that? Because you can change the delay time and it makes the spaceship noise. Check it out. What? That's never happened on a violin before. This is the first of its kind. That feedback can happen on the fly, in the wild. No amp needed, no pedal board needed. That's bananas. I'm so excited about it. Okay, so incredibly functional, all-encompassing delay that goes from slapback to medium delay to ambient sounds in the room to crazy self-oscillating spaceship noises, or lo-fi looper if you carefully mute yourself and don't let it run away. That's a lot, and it's almost a new instrument that I have to start practicing, playing the knobs. Notice that the position of these knobs is very well thought out. I can reach them with my left hand when I'm busy bowing something, or if I'm plucking, I can do left hand pizzicato and reach them while I'm using my right hand. Or I can strum and reach down and use them guitar style. Let's get a couple other interesting sounds out of the delay. One option you might want is still kind of reverb-ish sound. So one thing you could do is set the delay time to be pretty short and the repeats to be a few, the level to be pretty low, and you get this. Here's with no delay. Here's with just a teeny little bit of delay. Sounds kind of reverby. We've got slapback, we've got pseudo-reverb, we've got medium delays, and you can do all of the dotted eighth delay things where you're playing canon with yourself. Let's try that for a moment. I feel like I'm in U2. Nice! I'm still learning all the different possible settings for the delay, but anything you can think of with the delay pedal, you can do right here on the instrument. Leave a comment if you have a favorite setting for your delay pedal and let me know what I should try on here. I think it's appropriate to do a little bit of a shootout. I want to compare just the sound of the pickup in here against the sound of the pickup in my acoustic violin. So right now that's got a Schertler Stat-V pickup in it. Let's hear how the piezo element in the Volta compares to the Schertler. Just for giggles, I'm going to remove the delay. So we're really just listening to the sound of the piezo. The pickups both sound really good. The Schertler is a little bit of a hotter output, which makes sense. This is a passive piezo element. The Schertler has an active 9-volt battery preamp, so it's really juicing it. I didn't change any other volume settings, so you're really hearing them back and forth against each other. Of course, this also has a low C string, and it sounds really balanced across. And that's the passive piezo. If I switch it over to active, even without the delay turned on and the mix of that all the way down, it is a subtle difference. Listen to the difference between passive and active. To my ear, they're pretty darn similar. I have noticed that because you are changing the impedance and something else in the electrical signal that's going out, occasionally when you have a really persnickety analog circuit, like for example, the fuzz factory. This is the Chase Bliss factory, but this thing behaves very, very weird and is designed to interact with a guitar's volume knob. So it'll make weird squealing noises. I tried this out the other day. It made squeals when it was in passive and it didn't in active mode, and sometimes vice versa depending on the settings. But this is a rare and extreme use case, which I will be exploring in future videos if you're interested. Because I think fuzz is weird and it's worth understanding how it does what it does and when it works with what kind of pickup. I've already taken this on its maiden voyage. I played a secret So Far Sounds pop-up concert in Boston on Friday just to kind of give it a test drive. If you'd like to see that footage, it's going to be available on my Patreon only. Otherwise, you'll just have to come and see this live sometime in the future. I also unboxed this for my Patreon supporters. I'll cut to a little clip of that now.
And I'd hate to get locked out of my instrument. It's so pretty. Oh my God, it's so pretty. Come on, guys, let's see it. You ready? Come on! Look at this thing. Oh. Do you see it? Make sure that everyone can see.
So if you wish you heard about this a couple weeks ago when I was first opening it up and revealing it to my inner circle, you're invited to support me on Patreon where you get access to a ton of stuff, including that. So far, I have very few complaints about this instrument. It's a revolutionary design. I can use it unplugged. It sounds great into all of my existing gear and setup. Marat is an excellent player, so the neck feels really comfy. That's a pro. The neck feels great. The instrument feels great. The delay sounds great. So far, so good. Is there a con? Yes, there are maybe 1.5 cons to this instrument. The first is it's heavy. There are speakers and basically a guitar pedal inside this thing. So compared to an acoustic violin or most electric violins, think like the Yamaha YEV or the Ned Steinberger, it's heavy in comparison. I personally don't mind. It's still way lighter than a guitar. And now that I play guitar and also upright bass and other stuff, this is maybe an excuse for me to go to the gym and work out a little bit because it's not that heavy. I feel pretty comfortable with it. I'm a big, strong boy. I can do it. You probably could too. Within the first 48 hours of owning it, I went, ooh, man, I'm starting to feel some shoulder pain. That's a lot. It's because I had been playing for 8 hours. I couldn't stop practicing and exploring because it's so good and so fun to play. So if you're interested in a Volta instrument, and I think you should be, they're amazing, give yourself some grace period to not go all out, or make sure you stretch and rest on those first couple of days because you're not going to want to stop playing, and it is heavy enough that you could injure yourself. So please take it slow. You'll be seeing a lot more of this on the channel. I'll be featuring this in future Fuzz Fiddle episodes and using the differences of pickups between this and my Schertler, just so you can get a variety of options and really hear how a pedal will respond to different pickup sounds. I also will be taking this on the road with Billy Wilder, where I have an all blue matching pedal board, so excited to be all blue, dabba-dee dabba-die. Would you buy this instrument? What do you think of it? What would you like to see me do with it? And if you have any questions about what I should do with the delay, let me know. I'm going to close now with a little improvisation using the delay effect. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Lots more cool stuff coming in the works, so check it out and subscribe. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you again to my Patreon supporters. They saw it first. They're going to see that exclusive footage, and if you want more, and I have lots more there, please visit patreon.com for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Marat, for building a beautiful instrument that I'm excited to continue to explore for many, many moons to come. And see you in the next one. Bye.